How's it going, guys? It is your boy Splash. I am here with another mock draft. This is for February 7th, 2022. 2022. I almost slipped. I am getting this out a little late. It's 11:04 my time, Mountain Time. So if you're seeing this on Tuesday, my sincerest apologies, but I will count this as a mock draft Monday. Next week, I think I'm going to take a look at like a Kuiper mock or like Dane Brugler from the Athletic, McShay, something like that. I'll look at something else. I'll get some new blood up in here. But before we get started, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel at UStadium, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at UStadium as well. You can follow my personal Twitter at Mr. Splashman19. I might be on a Twitter space in a couple days for UStadium. And you can follow my sports Instagram _splash_sports. With that said, also ring a ding ding, that Le'Veon bell, that notification bell. I am in a different location in my dorm because I was asked to move some stuff. So I don't know how long we'll be here, but here we are. And we will start with the number 1 pick. That is going to be Aiden Hutchinson, edge out of Michigan. If you like the graphics, drop a like. If you hate the graphics, drop a like, drop a comment. Tell me what I need to change. I know there's empty space in the bottom left. Ignore that for the time being. Hutchinson, athletic freak out of Michigan, uber productive too. 15 pressures against Ohio State, second in Heisman voting. I mean, what's not to like here? If you're the Jags and you're trying to accumulate talent, that should be the end goal here. You want as talented of a roster as you can. Yes, there's an argument to go tackle. Yes, there's an argument to go Neal or Ekwonu or Charles Cross. Even I've seen him a couple times, number 1. But I think what you're going to get out of Hutchinson is probably the most guaranteed good player at a valuable position. Like Hamilton or Linderbaum or Matt Araiza might be better prospects at their respective positions, but those positions aren't quite as valuable as edge. So you get a high floor guy. He may not be TJ Watt, but you don't need TJ Watt. You just need a good player. And Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a good player. You can get another good player at 33. So there we go. That's how we start with the Jags. Number 2, I will say, be prepared. This one's kind of off the rocker a little bit. Malik Willis to the Falcons at 2. And let me explain the trade. So the Falcons send their first round pick, the second round pick they got from the Tennessee Titans in the Julio Jones trade, and their third round pick and Calvin Ridley. That's a lot for the number 2 pick. They move up 6 spots. This works out in the trade machine, the NFL draft trade, the draft chart. You can go on drafttech.com and check that out for yourself. It works if you think of Ridley as like a late first round pick, kind of like where the Titans are picking, where the Packers are picking. If you think of him like around there, it works. They might send a future first, something like that. I don't know. I think of this as them sending 2 first rounders, a second rounder, an extra second rounder from the Titans. So they keep they keep their second rounder and a third rounder, and you get a guy to sit behind Matt Ryan. And that's, to me, something valuable. This is almost like an extra pick because you're going to have another top 40-ish pick at the top of the second round that you can get like a good prospect, right? You can get a good player there and take your shot at a quarterback here, and you don't have to wait, and you don't have to hope Denver doesn't jump you, Pittsburgh doesn't jump you. You just go get Malik Willis. So is he the best quarterback in the draft class? I don't know the answer to that question. He has the highest upside. I will give you that, but I don't know if he is the best, but I think he is someone that makes sense and a good spot for a potential quarterback. Not a good spot for a quarterback right now because Matt Ryan's going to be your quarterback for 2022. But if you say, hey, week 1, 2023 or week 1 of 2024, Malik Willis is the starting quarterback for the Falcons, I think that's a great scenario. If he goes to Denver, he has to start right away, theoretically. Or if he goes to Pittsburgh or if he goes to Washington, you're going to be pushing him to start right away. I think this is a perfect. If you're Malik Willis, I think you would want to go to Atlanta. They have Kyle Pitts. They have Russell Gage. They're sending Calvin Ridley in this trade. But guess what? You can pick a guy at 39 or something that is going to be that can be a productive wide receiver. We've seen second round guys work out in the NFL. Debo, AJ Brown. If I'm the Falcons, I think this is a logical trade. The Lions also get more draft capital to move down, but we'll see what they do later in the draft. Number 3, let's go chalk. Kayvon Thibodeau, edge out of Oregon. I know there's character concerns. I think part of it's BS. Part of it's kind of people wanting to like look good. Now, eh, the talent is clearly there to be a top 5 guy. And even if there's off the field stuff, sure, like Jadeveon Clowney, in hindsight, may not be worth the number 1 overall pick. But the talent is still there. He still had some very good seasons with the Texans and with the Browns, and he was all right with Seattle and Tennessee, but he's still a good player. And that's what you get. If you have a guy with character concerns or with commitment concerns, you're still going to get a good player because he's an athletic freak. Is he necessarily going to be TJ Watt or Myles Garrett or Von Miller? No, maybe not, but you're still going to get a good player. And I think if you're the Texans, you have to bank on getting good players. So, and this is at an incredibly valuable position. Number 4, the best offensive tackle in the class is Ikem Ekwonu. Hopefully that doesn't get much pushback. I know Evan Neal is going to test out of this world in Indianapolis. I don't really care. The Jets already have the athletic freak at left tackle. Just throw Ekwonu in at right tackle. You can start him as a guard too, day 1. You can start him at right guard. You have your left tackle, your left guard, theoretically, with Becton and AVT. Then you throw Ekwonu at right guard or right tackle. And I think you're golden. You'll have another pick at 10. Maybe you double dip. I don't know. I actually forgot what I picked at 10. So let's see where we're going from there. Number 5, I think this is a reach. I think this is a reach, and there might be a better edge, but I don't think the other edges in this class offer as much upside as a David Ojabo. This season for the Giants is a goofy one because you're still attached to Daniel Jones. So I'm thinking here, you use one of the picks on a defensive playmaker. You use one of the picks on an offensive lineman, and then you use any other picks in the draft to kind of facilitate with a future roster. David Ojabo played like 30 snaps at Michigan prior to 2021. And then in 2021, he was absolutely a superstar. And I know he was playing with Hutchinson on the other side. I get that. But the upside here is limitless. You pair him with Azeez Ojulari, who you took last year. You pair him with a solid interior, and you're gonna have a good defensive line, and you're gonna have solid enough linebackers. And I think you're going to have a passable defense, maybe not an elite defense, but a passable defense, even without Patrick Graham. And then you say, offense, we're going to put you in reasonable situations. You're not going to have to score 30 points every week to win games. That will help out Daniel Jones, I think. And then with the 7th pick, then you take the next offensive lineman, whether you want to take a tackle, whether you want to take Tyler Linderbaum, whether you want to trade down and try to accumulate multiple guys. Who knows? Number 6, Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Alabama. I know the Panthers technically have their tackle duo with Christensen and Taylor Moton, but I think you go high upside here. Neal has played guard as well, so you can, if you want to put him at left tackle and have Christensen at left guard or vice versa, figure it out, improve the offensive line. This is throwing resources to help Sam Darnold. You can take a quarterback here, but Matt Rule apparently wants to help Sam Darnold, so go get a guy who people think could be the number 1 pick. Speaking of offensive line help, New York Giants, Tyler Linderbaum at 7. He's the 2nd best prospect in the draft. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. He's a blue chip center prospect. He is the best center prospect I have ever seen. He is one of the best center prospects in the last 25 years. Like, and I know center is not the most valuable position, but if you're in a situation like the Giants, you should value it more. You should value it more because you have a left tackle. You have one of your tackles figured out. You can get a relatively cheap right tackle in some other way. Why don't you go get not a guarantee, but that's close to a guarantee, as close to a bust-proof player in this draft as there is, Tyler Linderbaum. He's going to have that Creed Humphrey-like entrance to the league that he's going to be really, really good to start with. And I think you're missing out if you don't take Linderbaum. I know there's other tackles. I know there's other guards even, but I think you're missing out if you don't take Linderbaum at 7. Number 8, remember the Lions traded down, and guess what? They still get a player they could have easily had at 2, and no one would have scoffed at it. Kyle Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame. just a superstar. He is, as far as I'm concerned, the number one prospect in this draft. Um, he is one of the most athletic players I've ever seen at safety. He might be the single best safety prospect I've seen. This is a Derwin James level prospect, a Minkah Fitzpatrick level prospect. Like, he is a blue chipper, and that the Lions need blue chip talent, and they need a lot of picks. And again, they got picks, and they got a blue chip guy in Kyle Hamilton. Oh yeah, and you throw in Calvin Ridley. So I think this is a slam dunk move. I wouldn't scoff at. This is very much like a Vikings take Christian Darrisaw after trading down. Like, if they take him at 14, it's an A pick or an A plus pick. They take him at 23 and get an extra third. Good on you. Hamilton, same ordeal. Instead of taking him at 2, getting a good pick, you take him at 8, get an incredible value, and you get a huge trade in return. Number 9, we have another quarterback, Matt Corral, Ole Miss. I don't think I have to explain this one too much. I know there's some offensive concerns that Ole Miss isn't the NFL. I get that, but you at least have a quarterback that can function properly, and you have a quarterback that, sure, he might have a limited, like, it might be RPO heavy, but you can kind of work with that. Nathaniel Hackett can work with that. You can work with the tools there. You have 2 good receivers, Judy and Sutton. You have good tight ends in Alberto and Fant. You have good running backs in Williams, and Gordon's a free agent, but you have Javonte Williams is sitting there. You have a solid offensive line, Garrett Bowles and co. So I think Corral can start day 1. I think he can start week 1, and I think you're comfortable doing that. Jets at 10. I know it's not Garrett Wilson. I know it's not Drake London. But Jets fans, I know there's a lot of you here. Hear me out. Treylon Burks is going to have one of the most ridiculous testing, like, combines ever. Like, we are talking a short list of guys. The athletic comp for Burks in terms of size, speed, weight is Andre Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Andre Johnson. The only guys in that echelon of athlete in terms of size, speed, weight. Calvin Johnson's up there. DK Metcalf is around that area. I think he's a little lighter than Burks. And it's a very short list. And I think Dorial Green Beckham. So Dorial Green Beckham is like the outlier there. Julio Jones might be in that list as well. Just absurd speed, absurd size, absurd, like, he's going to be awesome. He's going to be your X receiver. You can Corey Davis can slide in as your number 2 guy, your second outside guy, like more of a Z kind of guy and then Elijah Moore can line up in the slot. Boom. Look at that. You have throw in Michael Carter, throw in a second round or third round pick at tight end, and you actually have a competent offense. Jets fans, I know you don't know what that feels like, but you are going to have a competent offense as long as Zach Wilson doesn't crap himself. So I think Burks would be an excellent pick. I know he's not necessarily the top receiver on everyone's board. I don't even know if he's the top receiver on my board, but I believe he would be a great fit with the Jets. If you think you can get him later, you can even trade down and add another second or add another third and get more draft capital. And even, I don't know, maybe you, hypothetically, of course, maybe you trade down from 10 to, like, I don't know, Baltimore at 14 or Chargers at 17. I don't know, something like that. And then you get another second or another third or something. And then you move up at the end of the first round. And then you end up with 3 first-round picks. So you get Ekwonu, you get a guy you want at 17, and then you get a guy, you take a 5th-year flyer on a guy, and boom. So number 11, we do have another quarterback. It is Des Ritter. It is not Kenny Pickett. It is not Carson Strong. It is not Sam Howell. I know those are more popular names. I think with Ritter, it's the same qualifier with Corral and the inverted qualifier of Willis, that if you're Washington, you kind of want a guy to start right away. And I think Ritter is more than capable of starting right away. He does have a low ceiling moving forward. He's athletic enough. He's accurate enough. I don't think he's necessarily going to be a superstar in the NFL, but I do think he can be a day 1 contributor and a good player from day 1. May not be Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tom Brady down the line, but I think he can be like the 20th best quarterback or better immediately. So I think there's certainly value in that, and that's why I would take him over a Pickett, especially outdoor environment there in Landover. with some games in Philly, some games in East Rutherford late in the season. And then Howell and Carson Strong, I think, they're more on the boomer bust side, particularly Howell. I think he would need some time to develop. I think Ritter would be a good option for the Commanders. Did I say football team earlier? Commanders. We got too much sauce here. Number 12, Ahmad Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati. The offense is perfectly fine in Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell is an offensive guy. He runs the same system, so don't give me the BS that he's unqualified. No, he's running the exact same system you had in there. It's going to be a lot of Shanahan-y concepts, a lot of wide zone. That's what Dalvin Cook is good at. That's what the entire offensive line is good at. That's what Justin Jefferson thrives in as an offensive system. That's what gets the best out of Kirk Cousins. Look at what he did in Washington. Look at what he's done in Minnesota when he's had that Shanahan-y influence. That being said, the defense needs work. You can go edge here. You can go corner here. I love Sauce, and I would have him as my number one corner, and that's where I have him going. Number one corner. Minnesota gets a slam dunk guy. They have not had a great corner in a while, so go get Sauce. He didn't allow a single touchdown in college, which it's just incomprehensible. And I go from there. You have guys like Hunter, guys like Eric Kendricks, guys like Harrison Smith. Those guys are more reaching the back nines of their career, particularly with Kendricks and with Smith. Hunter's just missed the last 2 years, so you don't know what you're going to get out of that. But Gardner is an incredible player. 13, yeah, Browns fans, you knew it was coming. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Smooth route runner. He's probably the best receiver in this class. He doesn't have any weaknesses in his game. It's kind of, if you're like, if you're playing like like Madden or 2K or something, and you make a balanced archetype, Garrett Wilson is a balanced archetype. Like Drake London is like your prototypical big guy. Like Treylon Burks is like, if you like max out the speed, like the athleticism profile. Olave is like route runner supreme. Garrett Wilson's just like kind of like a mix of both. He's a mix of all three. He's not like an insane athlete, but he's a good athlete. He doesn't have insane speed, but he has good speed. He's not an insane contested catch guy, but he's a good contested catch guy, if that makes sense. So he's kind of like jack of all trades, master of a lot of things. So he's terrific prospect, probably wide receiver one on your board, wide receiver one on a lot of boards, and you'd be a slam dunk pick for the Brownies. Number 14, my Baltimore Ravens. This is a pure value pick. If we know one thing about the Ravens, they love them some value. You get a guy that, yeah, he's had 2 down seasons at LSU, but his freshman season was absolutely ridiculous. And you go get another cornerback. So this gives you, if you want to cut Marcus Peters, I would not do that. If you want to cut Marcus Peters, you can do that. If you want to trade Anthony Averett, you can do that. You get some more flexibility in that room, and you get a super young guy, super valuable position at corner for super cheap. I know Baltimore has a tendency to draft Georgia players and Alabama players in particular, but why not throw another LSU Tiger? Why not throw another national champion Tiger into that defense, joining Patrick Queen? I think Stingley would be a great pick. Number 15, the first of the Eagles picks, George Karlaftis. He's a guy that can go top 10 in a lot of mocks. He might go as high as 5. He could be a Giants target, 5 or 7. Powerful guy. I think he's kind of like the heir apparent to Brandon Graham, almost like as a pocket pushing type. Very, very heavy hands, very explosive in that regard. He's going to test pretty well as well. So that's exciting. And I think for the Eagles, you just have to come out of this with 3 good players. You can have some, you might want to go like edge, corner, receiver, and get like positional value. But I think they might be equipped to just go best 3 players available. And if that's edge, if that's linebacker, if that's guard, if that's Tyler Linderbaum, then so be it. At 16, like I said, if it's linebacker, go linebacker. Nakobe Dean, exceptional talent out of Georgia, good athlete, incredible brain. So if you're looking at the Eagles linebacker core, and I know they don't generally invest heavily into the linebacker position. They are very much we're going to invest in the defensive line. 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 We're going to pick a bust wide receiver. We're going to invest in the defensive line. We're going to pick a bust at left tackle. Then we're going to sign a guy that's never played football and it actually works. And I get it, but I think Nakobe Dean can be a superstar linebacker, and kind of in the mold of Kyle Hamilton, you can judge that. You can take that and say, well, if he is the best linebacker in the NFL or a top 5 linebacker in the NFL, that is more valuable than the average linebacker. It's like Hamilton. If he turns into the next Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu or Harrison Smith, Earl Thomas, if he's on that level, it's just incredibly valuable. That is just a step ahead of the curve. And I think Dean has that potential at linebacker. Number 17, high riser. This is the first time I've had him in one of my mock drafts, whether a written mock or one of the video mocks. Zion Johnson, Senior Bowl darling, guard out of Boston College. Yes, a guard, not a center, guard. Plug him in at right guard, and I think you're going to have 4 awesome offensive linemen down there in LA. You have Slater at left tackle, Filer, who is a criminally underrated left guard, Corey Linsley at center, and Zion Johnson at right guard. Figure out right tackle. Like I said, the Giants earlier, just figure out, get your blue chip guy, get your almost guaranteed good player, and figure out right tackle in the free agency, second round, third round, just chuck a bunch of resources at it. Absolutely go do that. So you get your star right guard here. He's going to be awesome. Number 18, I've had this picked in every mock I can remember. Jamison Williams to the Saints. Here is my strategy if I'm Mickey Loomis. Jameis and Jamison. Actually, Jamison to drink some Jamison after winning the Super Bowl. There you go. This is a slam dunk to me that if assuming you figure out what Michael Thomas wants and you have Michael Thomas in the building and then you have Jamison in the building and then you have Jameis in the building, I think you're gonna have a very good offense. Kamara, if Kamara figures out his legal issues that he's going through right now, I think you're gonna have a good offense. I don't think they may not want to pay Teron Armstead. I think they should. I think he's very good. You have Ramczyk. You have like a solid interior when healthy, and then defensively, it's the Saints. They're going to be good defensively. You can maybe get to a Super Bowl like that. I wouldn't be shocked. This is a pick to me that it's kind of like the Steelers last year with Najee Harris. There might be better players. There might be better scheme fits. There might be better long-term things. But if you are wanting to maximize the 2022 season, I think Jamison is the best pick. And unlike running backs, Jamison should have value for more than a year. Congratulations. Number 19, we got him going. Drake London, Philadelphia Eagles. I know that's 3 years in a row that they spent a first-round pick on wide receiver. Here's the thing. They have 3 first-round picks this year. This is their own pick, but you have 2 other dart throws, essentially. You have all of these resources. So I don't think it matters that, you're throwing another resource at wide receiver. Why are you doing that? And you don't make a guy like Jalen Reagor irrelevant, right? He can be your number 3 receiver if you still think there's hope there, because he has maybe shown potential a little bit. I don't think so, but you're not giving up on him. You are giving up on JJ Arcega-Whiteside, which they should have done when they made the original pick. So congratulations, Drake London. You contested catch freak. Pair him with Goddard, pair him with Devontae Smith. I think that's going to be an exceptional passing offense. If you get more development out of Jalen Hurts, I think he can. I think Jalen Hurts he has checked off every box I've wanted him to check off in the NFL. Is he a top 10 quarterback? No, but there's a reason there's top 10 quarterbacks. Most quarterbacks are not top 10 quarterbacks. So you're making progress. If you add Drake London, you are making progress. Number 20, speaking of progress, Kenny Pickett can just stay in the same city. Are there better quarterback prospects than Kenny Pickett? Yes. Am I worried about Kenny Pickett's 8.5-ish inch hands? Yes. However, Pickett is an incredible learner. He is very bright, and he's kind of on that Jalen Hurts track of development. Let me walk you through this. So if you are asking a quarterback to hit like milestones in each year as a starter each year, he is hitting the milestones. He was very good in 2021 after being not so good in 2020, but he was hitting those milestones. He was making improvements, very much like a Jalen Hurts. That was he a good passer at Alabama? No, but you could still win with him, and he made progress. And then at Oklahoma, he was very good. And his first year as an Eagle, he's like, And then the second year as an Eagle, he improved, and the Eagles made the playoffs, and in large part because Jalen Hurts played better football. And I think Pickett is on that same track of, if you set the guy a goal, he might not. It's kind of like set a goal set a goal for the moon, and if you fail, you're going to land amongst the stars. Kind of like that. That if Kenny Pickett has like a goal of being the best quarterback in the NFL, he might not hit the goal, but he's not going to like be awful. So I think there is certainly some value in that as a learner, as like a leader. I think those are super valuable traits of getting better each and every year. Not every quarterback does that. Not every player necessarily goes through that process. And I think Kenny Pickett can do that for the Steelers. Would I be worried starting him week one? A little bit, yeah. But I think he's a kind of like a developmental guy, but not in the same. He's not a Malik Willis, if that makes sense. So you need to play him, but you need to set these goals for him that he's going to hit. And I think he can hit a lot of them. And I'm, even as a Ravens fan, like, this would be a good pick for Pittsburgh. And I wouldn't want them to make the pick. I want them to take a bust at 20. And I don't think Kenny Pickett's going to be a bust. 21, Roger McCreary to the Chiefs, trading up. They trade a third and a fourth. Don't know how realistic that is. It works out in the draft tech thing. Move up 9 spots, get a battle-tested, battle-worn cornerback out of the SEC. Shorter arms than you might like, which issues, sure. But if you want a guy that is going to excel in man coverage and a guy that is going that has gone up against these guys, like when he goes up against the Broncos, he might draw Jerry Jeudy. Well, guess who he played in college? Guess how many Alabama eventual first round guys he played in college? A lot of them. Guess how many LSU first round guys he played in college? A lot of them. Guess how many random first, second, third rounders he played in college? A lot of them. So there might be some weeks that he plays an easier receiver in the NFL than he did a week in Auburn. I wish I was joking. I'm not joking. Just there are few players that match McCreary's like work ethic and just honesty at the position. And I think he's gonna be a really good corner. Needs to smooth up his own ability, but he's gonna be a really good corner at the next level. That he would be a great addition to the Chiefs. I know they're giving up 2 picks. I know, but if you're the Chiefs, you also have to factor in that Mahomes, his mega deal is kicking in. So perhaps you might look at it and say, hey, well, we can get this guy and we can save a little bit of money on the 3rd and 4th round picks, and we'll get a 5th year on a really good corner. Number 22, not that Washington corner, the second one. Let me tell you guys about this Kyler Gordon kid. At Washington, Trent McDuffie wasn't getting a lot of passes thrown his way because he was so good. So Kyler Gordon kind of got like an inordinate number of like targets for being a first round caliber prospect in my eyes, but superstar. I'm talking superstar. And I think he fits the mold of a Raiders guy that we all know is a good player, but a second round guy, he's magically going to go in the first round. I think he's a first round guy. I think he's a guy that I would be happy taking in the first round. If Baltimore took him, if they traded down or they traded up in the back end of the first round and ended up with a Kyler Gordon, I would be over the moon. But I think it fits the MO of the Raiders that he's not going to be 22 on a lot of people's boards. He's not going to be the number 1 Washington corner on most people's boards, but I think it makes sense for them. They get a guy with a lot of pedigree out of Washington. Washington's like a CBU, essentially, cornerback university. And I think this would be a stellar pick. Maybe a touch early, but a stellar pick nonetheless. 23, Kenyon Green, plug-and-play guard. This is Zion Johnson. This is Tyler Linderbaum at center. He's going to be a day 1 starter. He's going to start 10 years for you and be an awesome guard. Would you prefer a tackle? Sure, absolutely. But he is going to step in, be a guard, and be a top 15 guard for 10 years. He's played everywhere on the line at A&M. Just put him at a guard position and wait, because he's going to be awesome. He's going to get a couple Pro Bowls, might be an All-Pro, but he's going to be a really, really good guard in the NFL. And he would go a lot higher if he was listed as anything other than a guard, but his natural position is guard. 24, Charles Cross. This is a fall for Cross. He is a guy that even if the Ravens took him at 14, I think that's a great pick. If the Eagles took him with one of their 3, that's a great pick. But Dallas, re-up that offensive line, get a guy that can. You have Tyron Smith, but he's on the wrong side of 30. You have Lyle Collins, who I like a lot. You have Terrence Steele, who had his moments. Go get another one. Give yourself a contingency plan. Throw Cross as a guard, just put him at left guard for a year and say, hey, Tyron Smith, you have a guy that you can educate. And if your line in 2022 is, I don't know, fact check me. I don't know if these guys are free agents, but if it's Smith, Cross, Biadash, Martin, and Collins, I think that's very good. And then you have Steele as a rotational guy, and then they're going to lose Connor Williams. I believe that's his name. Connor Williams in free agency. Okay, congratulations. You get Cross in, boom, slot him in left guard. Tyron Smith goes elsewhere sometime. Boom, Cross is your long-term left tackle. He's going to be a great pass protector for Dak. Here's the Washington corner you all know and love, Trent McDuffie. The only thing against this guy is that he's 5'11". He might not reach the size threshold for some teams, which is maybe why Vegas wouldn't draft him, because they like the size, weight, speed guys. McDuffie hits the speed, hits the weight, maybe not hits the size, a touch small at 5'11", but he is a dog. He is quite literally a husky. He is a tremendous player. He's going to fit right in as a cornerback too in Washington or in Buffalo. You have the great safety duo with Poyer and Hyde as well. Just the rich get richer a little bit here. 26, Carson Strong. I don't know how other people are viewing the Titans situation. I think it's an easy quarterback spot because you can, especially at the end of the first round, you get a 5th-year option on these guys, and you say, hey, Tannehill, no pressure. You have next year, you have 2023 maybe, and then we'll think about it. And if Tannehill is great and you want to keep moving forward with Tannehill, then you can trade him. Kind of like it was almost like what the Eagles have done with Nick Foles, like the 3 times he's been there, right? That if you have 2 good quarterbacks, theoretically, and you can trade one of them, and that'd be a valuable asset. Remember, they traded Sam Bradford and got a 1st-round pick from Minnesota. So it's like a backup quarterback is incredibly valuable, especially if they can play. And Carson Strong can play. I don't think their current backup, it was Toledo kid, right? Woodside. I don't think Woodside can play. I think Carson Strong can play. Even if he's just a backup for the first couple of years, I think that'd be incredibly valuable. 27, another quarterback, the Lions trade up. This is why you make some trades, because you accumulate more assets. And if you're a team like the Lions, you can say, hey, well, we just saw Carson Strong go off the board. We want to lock in that quarterback. So let's go jump up to 27. Boom, boom, boom. We have our quarterback, Sam Howell. You can start Mr. Jared Goff for a couple more years if you'd like. Let Howell develop, and guess what? You keep your pick at the top of the 2nd round so you can draft receiver, like I've been slamming the table for them to do all offseason. Draft a receiver in the first 35 picks. This, you get a 5th-year option on the guy, and not all the receivers have gone yet. You can still get some wide receiver talent, theoretically. I'll show you the last few picks in a second, but you can still get some wide receiver talent. 28. Bengals said, we want our guy. We know we're about to win the Super Bowl, but we want our guy, Trevor Penning, offensive tackle in Northern Iowa. You can teach technique, which is what they're going to need to do. They're going to need to teach technique. They're going to need to teach him how to play right tackle. You cannot teach meanness. You cannot teach, I am the baddest MFer on the planet. That's the reason why Joe Burrow is so successful, because he believes he is the best player in the history of the universe every time he steps out on the field. Trevor Penning is that guy just as a tackle. So I know it's a lot to move up 3 spots, a 4th and a 6th, so 2 day 3 picks. But you get a mean streak. You get a guy that's going to be right tackle for 10 years. So penalties, I get it. But high-end stuff is going to be right there with Penning. 29. Bernard Raymond, I don't know what happened to Central. That is not supposed to look like that. It is Central Michigan, not Centra Michigan. Not sure. Bernard Raymond, converted tight end. I think you've heard that story a million times, especially if you watch anything related to PFF. Good athlete. Needs some development at the position, but throw another resource at the tackles you have, and you have a couple of guys there in Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg that probably are going to be better guards than tackles. So throw another resource at tackle and let those guys play guard. All right. This one is a normal slide for some reason. Senior Bowl darling, Jermaine Johnson. Patriots would get this is a very similar pick to the Darisaw pick from last year or the Kyle Hamilton pick earlier. They could pick him at 21 and it's a good pick. They pick him at 30, pick up a third and a fourth round pick. Double thumbs up. What a pick this would be. He was a Senior Bowl stud. Terrific season for Florida State. Incredibly versatile. I know the Patriots do like to build back to front, but if you ask Bill Belichick, hey, we probably have a good enough secondary. Add a guy to your edge room. Easy enough. Jermaine Johnson, terrific player, might go higher. Probably is going to go a lot higher. 31. I know the Packers don't do it, but pick a freaking wide receiver. Get Chris Olave from down the road in Columbus. Probably should have picked him last year, but he didn't declare for the draft. Easy, slam dunk, great route runner. If Devontae Adams leaves, okay, great. You have a great route runner for Jordan Love. If Rodgers stays and Adams stays, you have a great number 2. Awesome. Whatever you need, Olave can fit the bill. So this is a situation independent event. So pick Olave regardless of who's at quarterback, regardless of who the wide receiver 1 is. It might end up being Olave, but regardless, this is an easy pick. And last but certainly not least, Jets fans, I told you, if you move back in the draft, then it lets you do things like this. So move up a couple spots, throw a 5th round pick in for Tampa, and Tampa, I'll explain the Tampa side of this. Devin Lloyd, I don't think he needs any introduction. Why is Tampa trading down? Well, Tampa has a lot of free agents and they have an opening at quarterback. So you need to ask yourself, how are you going to fix this? Well, I think what they should do is say, okay, we're going to take a rebuild year, figure out what you're doing at quarterback. You don't necessarily have to overspend on an Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, guy like that. What you can do is say, hey, take a step back, get another pick. We'll see how the board looks tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. And I just add another pick in. You're just calm. The Jets, be aggressive. Use one of your 5th round picks. Slide up a couple spots. Get a 5th-year option on Devin Lloyd. Guess what? You have another pick at the top of the 2nd round. You can go after a Trey McBride. I would maybe not pick him with their Carolina pick, but to each his own. You can get a good player there. You have other draft capital. You have a lot of money in free agency. But you're not going to get a Devin Lloyd in free agency. You're not going to get a Devin Lloyd. Actually, in this world, you might get him at 35, but I don't think on draft day you're going to get him at 35. He's a guy that the Jags or Lions could actually snatch up at 33, 34. Lloyd is a cerebral player at Utah. Very smart, very good athletically. Other than the Ohio State game, that was an absolute disaster. But other than that game, ironically enough, which I think the picture is here from, just sensational player, checks off every box as a linebacker. Just he plays linebacker, so he's not going to go in the top 20 like he could be. So, and that'll be it for today. That is mock draft, I believe 3.0 that I've posted on YouTube. This is actually my 5.0 in article form. So, and it hasn't actually gone up yet. So I don't know about that, but thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at USADM. You can follow me at Mr. Splashman19 on Twitter, at _splash_sports on the old gram. So again, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you ring a ding ding that Le'Veon bell, that notification bell, and peace out.